Imagine sitting in your favorite coffee shop, like
Uh,
the exact same one you've gone to every single morning for the past, I don't know, 3 years.
Right, the exact same routine.
Yeah. You're drinking the exact same drink, looking out the exact same window, watching the exact same cars drive by,
Yeah.
and suddenly, out of nowhere, you just realize you are suffocatingly bored.
Just completely over it.
Totally.
Hmm.
If you are an Aquarius listening right now, April 2026 is about to take that daily routine of yours and, well, just shatter it into a million pieces.
It really is.
Welcome back to Horoscope TV. Today, we are opening up the astrological charts to look specifically at what the universe has planned for you, the Aquarius listener.
Yes, the water bearer of the zodiac.
Exactly. You're the big thinker, right? You're the person who always has, like, 1 foot planted 10 years in the future.
Always ahead of the curve.
So our mission today is to map out the highs, the lows, the moments to step on the gas, and the moments to just slam on the brakes.
Yeah.
And from what I'm looking at, this month is, it's anything but normal.
Oh, it is far from normal. When I analyze the overall astro charts for April, the theme that just overshadows everything else is this desperate need to break free from the ordinary.
Which is saying something for an Aquarius.
Right. As an Aquarius, you already have a very low tolerance for doing things just because, that's how they've always been done. You hate feeling boxed in.
Oh, absolutely hate it.
And the planets are stacking up in a way that just feeds that restless energy. It starts as a small spark in the first week, and it builds into a blazing fire by the end of the month.
Wow.
We are looking at a completely profound shift in how you live your life, and it's starting right now.
I'm so glad you mentioned that restless feeling, actually, because I want to talk directly to you, the listener, for a second. Have you felt that itch lately?
That nagging feeling.
Yeah, that quiet voice in the back of your head saying, is this all there is? Maybe you're looking at your job or your living situation or just your daily habits, and you feel like your brain is literally going to sleep.
Well, the charts are promising that the sleepwalker phase is completely over.
Yes, everything is about to shake up. But before we get to the massive life changes at the end of the month, we have to start at the beginning.
Right, chronological order.
Because the first week of April brings a massive surge of energy that hits your career right away. Okay, let's unpack this. Where do we start?
We start early. The very first major movement we need to talk about happens on April 5th.
April 5th, got it.
This is when the sun forms a square with the planet Jupiter. And to understand why this matters, we have to kind of break down what a square actually does in the charts.
Okay, lay it on us.
If you look at a chart, a square is a literal 90-degree angle between two planets. Imagine two cars driving at the exact same speed toward a four-way intersection.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Neither car has a stop sign. Neither car wants to slow down. That 90-degree angle creates friction, tension, and a major demand for action.
Okay, so a square is basically a traffic jam where everyone thinks they have the right of way. So who are the two drivers in this scenario on April 5th?
The first driver is the sun. In astrological terms, the sun is your core ego. It's your identity, your engine, the part of you that wants to shine and, get recognized.
All right, the look at me energy.
Exactly. The second driver is Jupiter. Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system, and it acts like a giant magnifying glass.
It makes everything bigger.
Yes, it expands whatever it touches. It's the planet of luck, growth, and really big ideas. But the shadow side of Jupiter is that it doesn't know when to stop.
So it doesn't have an off switch.
None at all. It rules over confidence and exaggeration. So when the sun and Jupiter crash into each other at that intersection, your ego and your desire for expansion get completely tangled up.
Wait, hold on a second. If Jupiter is the planet of luck and big ideas, and my sun is my core self, why is a crash between them a bad thing?
That's a great question.
Shouldn't I want to feel confident and lucky, especially at work?
You absolutely want to feel confident, but there is a really fine line between confidence and, believing you can literally fly.
Oh, I see.
Think about it this way. It's not about feeling bad. It's about feeling too good, to the point where you actually lose touch with reality.
Okay, that makes sense.
In a work setting on April 5th, you might be sitting in a team meeting. Your boss outlines this massive new project that's supposed to take 6 months.
A huge undertaking.
Right. And because Jupiter is pumping up your ego, you might raise your hand and say, oh, I can handle the whole thing myself, and I'll have it done in 3 weeks.
Oh, no. It's like going to an all-you-can-eat buffet when you've been starving all day.
Yes, exactly that.
Your eyes are so much bigger than your stomach, and you start piling plates of food, and then you realize you have to actually eat it all. You might make promises at work that your future self is going to deeply, deeply regret.
That is a perfect way to picture it. You really have to analyze why this specific chart movement requires you to remain very realistic.
Because it's a trap.
It is. Jupiter wants to make you the hero. And, I mean, you are incredibly capable, but you're still a human being with only 24 hours in a day.
Right, you can't bend time.
The friction of that square angle means it is a time to pause before saying yes to everything. When that urge hits you to volunteer for extra work or to promise some miracle deadline, I want you to literally bite your tongue.
Just stop yourself.
Take a full breath. Look at your actual calendar.
Underpromise and overdeliver, right? Don't let Jupiter write checks that your actual energy levels just cannot cash.
Exactly. Just hold back.
Because if you can just hold back and not overwhelm yourself on the 5th, you're going to need that extra brain space just 3 days later.
Oh, definitely.
Let's move to April 8th, because this is where the magic really happens at the office. The charts show Mars forming a highly positive angle, a sextile, with your ruling planet Uranus.
Yes, this is a fantastic transit.
Break this down for us. What is a sextile, and why does it feel so different from that stressful square we just talked about?
Well, if a square is two cars crashing at an intersection, a sextile is two cars driving side by side on an open highway, playfully tossing a map back and forth out the window.
Well, I like that.
It's a 60-degree angle. The planets are far enough apart to have their own space, but close enough to work together beautifully. They're passing notes in class.
Okay, so who's passing notes on April 8th?
Mars and Uranus. Now, Mars is raw action. It's the warrior, it's fire, it's drive, and the push to actually get things done.
And Uranus is the wild card. As an Aquarius listener, Uranus is your ruling planet, so this is personal. It's the planet of sudden changes, lightning bolts, and doing things differently.
Exactly. So you have the planet of action handing a map to the planet of rebellion.
What does that actually look like when you're just sitting at your desk on a Tuesday morning?
What's fascinating here is how the astro data shows you being completely ready to break free from boring routines. It looks like pure, unadulterated problem-solving genius.
Wow. Pure genius.
You see, Uranus doesn't just want to change things for the sake of causing trouble. It wants to wake people up to a better way of operating.
Right, it has a purpose.
Let's say your office has been stuck on a problem for months. Everyone is looking at the exact same spreadsheet, running the same numbers, getting the same bad result.
Banging their heads against the wall.
Exactly. Mars gives you the aggressive push to stand up, and Uranus gives you the vision to look at the problem entirely backward.
So you're not just offering a small tweak.
No.
Yeah.
You're going to suggest throwing the entire spreadsheet away and using a completely different system.
It's not about erasing the whiteboard. It's about asking why we're even in a room with a whiteboard when we should be working outside.
Yes. You are completely thinking outside the traditional corporate box.
And because it's a sextile, that smooth cooperative angle you mentioned, people are actually going to listen to you, right? Like, your boss isn't going to be annoyed. They're going to be amazed.
Exactly. The energy flows smoothly. People will be really receptive to your strange ideas because Mars is providing the practical drive to back them up.
You're actually doing it, not just talking about it.
Right. You're not just a dreamer on April 8th. You are an inventor putting a brand new machine to work.
I love that. But I imagine all of this brain power comes with a cost. You're running your mind at lightning speed.
Yeah.
And you can't sustain that forever.
No, you really can't. Which brings us to a very important shift on April 10th.
April 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the charts highlight this as literally one of the best days of the month for our listeners. This is when the moon enters the sign of Aquarius.
Yes, it comes home.
Now, I want to dig into this because people hear the moon and they just think about nighttime. But the moon moves fast, right? It changes signs every couple of days.
It does, very quickly.
So what does it actually mean for the listener when the moon comes home to their own sign?
Well, the moon represents your emotional resting pulse. It's your inner world, your need for safety, and how you comfort yourself.
Okay.
When the moon is in other signs, you might feel a little out of step with your own feelings. But when it enters Aquarius on the 10th, your emotional needs and your core personality are perfectly aligned.
Oh, that sounds so peaceful.
It is. You aren't trying to be anyone else. You'll feel highly independent, and the fog will just lift. Your personal needs take center stage.
So you'll have a really sharp, crystal clear understanding of what you actually want out of your personal goals.
Exactly.
You know, I'm thinking about the timeline here. On the 8th, you are solving the company's problems. And by the 10th, you are finally solving your own.
That's a great observation.
It makes me wonder, do you have to clear your mind at work on April 8th to make room for this personal clarity on April 10th? Because it feels like if you're carrying all that stress from the office, you can't possibly figure out what you want for dinner, let alone your future goals.
That is a brilliant way to look at it. Yes, the astrology is definitely telling a chronological story here. You use the Mars and Uranus energy on the 8th to clear the roadblocks at work.
You get the heavy lifting done.
Right. And because you did that, when the moon enters your sign on the 10th, your desk is clean. Your mind is quiet. You've created a peaceful space for yourself.
That is so rewarding.
It is, but the charts are very specific about how you need to use this day. Because you burned so much mental energy earlier in the week, April 10th must be a key day for your physical health.
Tuning into the body, which, let's be honest, is hard for an Aquarius.
It really is.
You live in your head. You're an air sign.
Yeah.
You're all about ideas, concepts, future plans. Remembering that you actually have a physical body that needs water and food can sometimes fall to the very bottom of your to-do list.
Exactly. Air signs can so easily float away from their physical needs, but the moon demands comfort. On April 10th, you really need to tune into your body.
What does that look like practically?
You must prioritize proper nutrition. Eat food that grows from the ground, not something that comes out of a plastic wrapper.
Real food.
Yes. Drink way more water than you think you need. And most importantly, you need to get the right amount of sleep.
So no staying up until 3 a.m. reading Wikipedia articles about outer space.
Exactly. Turn off the phone. You need real, deep, restorative rest.
Turn the brain off so the body can repair. I love that. And, this clear, independent energy you feel early in the month, it's going to completely shape who you attract in your social and romantic life.
It changes everything about your relationships.
Let's pivot and look at that, because building on this independent mood early to mid-April really lights up your romantic and social sectors.
It does. The relational astrology for the first half of April is incredibly active. And to truly understand it, we actually have to rewind just a few days and look at April 2nd.
Okay, going back to the second, what's happening?
There is a full moon in the sign of Libra.
Okay, a full moon.
Now, a full moon acts like a giant spotlight turning on in a dark room. It brings things to a climax, or it reveals things that were hidden.
And Libra is an air sign, just like Aquarius.
Exactly. It rules balance, harmony, and most importantly, partnerships. But in your specific astro chart, this Libra full moon shines its spotlight directly on your sector of travel and new experiences.
Travel and new experiences. Okay, so partnerships and new experiences are blending together. That tells me that you're not going to meet someone special while you're just sitting on your couch watching television.
No, definitely not.
The spotlight is pointing outside your front door. It's pointing at the places where you go to learn and explore.
Correct. The charts indicate fun group dates, but also deep philosophical conversations. And this is vital for an Aquarius.
Because Aquarians don't do small talk.
Exactly. If someone comes up to you and talks about the weather, your eyes will just glaze over.
Totally.
But if they ask you what you think the world will look like in 50 years, you will talk to them until the sun comes up.
Yes. And that leads directly into what happens on April 5th, right?
Yes, April 5th again. We already talked about the sun crashing into Jupiter at work on this day. But there is a second event happening in the sky that affects love.
Okay, what is it?
Venus forms a sextile with the node.
Okay, let's break this down. We know Venus is love and attraction. We know a sextile is that smooth, cooperative angle like cars on a highway. But what is the node?
The lunar nodes are mathematical points in the sky where the moon's orbit crosses the Earth's orbit around the sun.
Okay.
In astrology, the north node represents your destiny, your true north, the path your soul is meant to walk in this lifetime.
Wow, destiny.
Yes. So when Venus, the planet of love and connection, makes a smooth, highly positive angle to the point of destiny, we get what astrologers call a fateful meeting.
A fateful meeting. Oh, I love that. That's the kind of phrase that gives people goosebumps. But what does it actually mean? Are we talking about soulmates falling out of the sky?
Well, it means you cross paths with someone who feels significant immediately. It brings a highly positive romantic connection. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to marry them tomorrow, but it means they're meant to be a stepping stone on your path.
And because this is happening while the full moon energy is still lighting up your travel and learning sector, the context is really clear. Love might happen while you are out exploring or learning. Let's say you decide to visit a museum exhibit about ancient history, or you take a weekend trip to a city you've never visited.
Or you sign up for a class or join a local group. You're out doing something that feeds your unique brain.
And while you're there, you strike up a conversation. And within 10 minutes, you realize this person shares your exact, unique vision for the future.
Exactly. You aren't forcing the connection. It just flows perfectly. And if we look at who that perfect connection might be with, the astrological data points very strongly to one specific sign this month.
Ooh, who is it?
Your absolute best match for April is Leo.
Leo, the lion, the fire sign. Now, wait a minute. Leo is on the exact opposite side of the zodiac wheel from Aquarius, right?
They are exactly opposite.
You're winter, they're summer. You're the cool, detached air sign who cares about the collective group. Leo is the fiery, passionate sign who wants to be the star of the show. Why on earth are they your best match right now?
Because opposite signs are really just two sides of the same coin. You both deal with the concept of the ego in the group, just from totally different angles. You actually need each other to find balance.
Okay, give me an example.
Think about a hot air balloon. The balloon needs the air to fill it up, right? But it needs the fire at the base to actually lift it off the ground.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
You are the air. You have the brilliant ideas, the logical plans, the cool vision, but sometimes you get stuck in your own head. You lack the spark to put the plan into motion. Leo brings the fire.
They bring the warmth. They bring the confidence that just brightens up your logical world.
Exactly.
When you're sitting there wondering if your idea is too weird for the world, Leo walks in and says, "Your idea is amazing. Let's go show everyone right now."
And the timing is perfect. We talked about April 10th, when the moon is in your sign and you're focusing on your own personal goals. On that exact day, a Leo in your life is going to be your biggest cheerleader.
That's so sweet.
They look at your independence not as a threat, but as something to admire. They love how smart and different you are. They don't want to change you.
That is so important for an Aquarius. You need a partner who doesn't want to put you in a cage.
Right. And it looks like this connection gets even sweeter later in the month. By April 23rd, when the moon actually enters the sign of Leo, their generous nature is going to make you feel incredibly special.
The moon moves into their fiery territory.
Yes. If we analyze the balance here, the charts show deep mutual respect. You provide the brilliant vision, and they provide the bright star power.
And you both allow each other the freedom to shine without competing. It sounds like the perfect team.
It really is.
But of course, the universe is all about balance. Where there's light, there's shadow. If Leo is the warm fire lifting your balloon this month, we have to talk about the heavyweight trying to drag you down.
Yes, we do.
We need to issue a warning about your worst match for April, which is Scorpio.
The Astro data is flashing a very bright warning light here. Scorpio is definitely your problematic partner this month.
Why is that?
Well, to understand why, we have to look at the elements. You are air. Scorpio is water. Specifically, Scorpio is fixed water. They are like a deep, dark, unmoving ocean.
And Aquarius is the wind blowing over the ocean.
Right. Scorpios feel things with an intensity that you, as a logical air sign, cannot always comprehend.
Because as an Aquarius, your #1 requirement in life is freedom. You need space to breathe, space to think, space to change your mind.
And Scorpio operates on a totally different frequency. They want absolute control. They want depth. They want emotional merging.
And that's where the clash happens. Scorpio's need for absolute control completely suffocates your need for independence.
It really does. It's not that Scorpio is a bad sign. It's that their version of love feels like a prison to you.
Right. It's like wearing a tight, itchy sweater that's shrunk in the wash. It just feels entirely too restrictive for a free-spirited Aquarius. You just want to rip it off.
That's exactly how it feels. And the charts show exactly when this restrictive feeling is going to flare up. We have to look at April 3rd.
Okay, April 3rd. What's happening?
On April 3rd, Venus squares Pluto. Now, we already know what a square is, that tense 90-degree intersection where two planets crash.
The traffic jam.
Yes.
Wow.
We know Venus is the planet of love and relationships, but the other car in this crash is Pluto.
And Pluto is Scorpio's ruling planet, right?
Yes, it is. In astrology, Pluto rules the underworld. It rules power dynamics, hidden things, obsessions, and control. So when the planet of love crashes into the planet of control, things get ugly.
Oh boy, so if you're dating a Scorpio, or even if you have a close friend or business partner who is a Scorpio, their jealousy might flare up over an innocent friendship.
Exactly. The charts show this could happen over something completely harmless. Let's say you're at a coffee shop and you run into an old coworker. You chat for 5 minutes.
Totally normal.
To you, yes. You're an air sign, you're friendly with everyone, but the Scorpio partner watching this will feel their suspicion just take over. They'll demand to know what you were whispering about.
And as an Aquarius, that kind of interrogation is going to make your blood boil. because your logical brain looks at their jealousy and thinks, this makes zero sense.
Right, you'll try to explain it logically, but Pluto doesn't care about logic. It cares about power. And unfortunately, this tension doesn't just fade away after the 3rd.
It doesn't.
No, it simmers beneath the surface and boils over on April 25th.
What happens on the 25th?
The sun squares Pluto. Now, it's not just the planet of love crashing into Pluto, it's the sun. Your core ego is clashing with that demand for control.
Oh, so a massive argument is highly likely.
Very likely, because they want absolute demotion and you want casual freedom. You're looking at the world through two completely different lenses.
So if I'm the listener, what do I do?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, arguing is useless, especially because just a few days later, on April 30th, the moon actually enters the sign of Scorpio.
So the emotional tone of the entire sky gets heavy.
Yes, their dark, heavy mood totally ruins your positive vibe. The astrological data indicates that it is much better to just walk away.
Walk away, protect your peace. I think that's a really empowering message. So your love life is clear and bright with Leo, but you're avoiding Scorpio. Now, as we transition, we have to talk about a very strange contrast in the charts.
The contrast between your mind and your wallet.
Yes, because while your love life is clear, the mid-month astro data shows that your financial life is stepping into a very thick fog.
It is a really stark contrast.
Let's dive into this because it's fascinating. At work, your mind is operating like a supercomputer. But when you look at your bank account, it's like you've lost your glasses. Let's start with the mental brilliance. Talk to me about mid-April at work.
The mental brilliance peaks on two specific days, April 14th and April 18th. Let's start with the 14th.
Okay, the 14th.
Mercury forms a positive sextile with Uranus. Now, Mercury is the messenger. It's the planet of communication, writing, speaking, and everyday thought processes.
And Uranus is your ruling planet, the lightning bolt.
Exactly. When they form that cooperative angle, your thoughts speed up dramatically. But more importantly, your ability to articulate those thoughts becomes flawless.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because you're the sign of the future, you often have ideas that are 10 years ahead of everyone else.
Yes, you see the solution before anyone else even understands the problem.
Right. But when you try to explain it to your team, they look at you like you're speaking an alien language. You see the finished skyscraper, and they're still trying to figure out how to dig the hole.
That happens all the time to Aquarians. But on April 14th, you are handed the perfect translation dictionary.
Oh, nice.
You won't just have the unique concept, you will have the exact, inspiring words needed to pitch it perfectly. You can break down a complex idea into simple steps.
So you can easily find brilliant solutions to issues that have bothered your office for months. And it gets even deeper on the 18th, right?
It does. On April 18th, Mercury moves into a sextile with Pluto.
The planet of the underworld.
Right, but in a positive angle regarding your mind, Pluto gives you the power to dig. It gives you incredible analytical focus to research complex business opportunities.
You're doing the deep research.
Yes, you'll read the fine print, you'll see the hidden value, and it could lead directly to a major professional victory.
Okay, so picture this. You're at work. Your brain is acting like a high-speed sports car. You are taking corners at 100 miles an hour, shifting gears perfectly, leaving everyone else in the dust.
A perfect image.
You leave the office, you drive home, you sit down at your kitchen table to look at your personal finances, and suddenly, when it comes to money, it is like driving that same sports car through a thick, muddy swamp.
The money trap.
Yes. The tires are spinning, mud is flying on the windshield, and you cannot see 2 feet in front of you. What is happening on April 13th and 17th?
It all centers around the planet Neptune. Let's look at April 13th. Two major things happen. First, the moon enters the sign of Pisces. This shifts your emotional focus toward your personal income. Second, and much more dangerously, aggressive Mars meets foggy Neptune.
They meet in a conjunction, right? Meaning they sit right on top of each other.
Exactly. Mars wants to act fast. Mars says, do it now, sign the check, buy the thing.
Impatient energy.
Very. But Neptune is the planet of fog, dreams, illusions, and smoke and mirrors. So when aggressive Mars hits foggy Neptune in your financial sector, the atmosphere becomes very foggy and confusing.
So I'm trying to picture what a foggy financial atmosphere looks like. Give me a real-world example.
Imagine putting on a virtual reality headset. You're standing in your safe, boring living room, but the headset is showing you a beautiful bridge leading to a pile of treasure.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Mars gives you the aggressive push to run across the bridge. But the bridge isn't real. If you run, you're going to slam face first into your living room wall.
Ouch.
In the real world, this looks like a financial scam. It looks like an email offering a guaranteed crypto return if you just wire a small fee.
Or a message from a friend about a multi-level marketing scheme. And the Mars energy makes you feel a sense of urgency. You think, I need to get in on this right now.
Exactly. You must avoid financial scams. I have to warn you directly. If a money-making deal sounds too good to be true, it definitely is.
But wait, if my brain is smart enough to solve a corporate crisis on the 14th, how am I falling for a scam on the 13th?
Because astrological charts are divided into houses. The Mercury transits are affecting your house of career. Your logic is detached. But the Mars and Neptune conjunction is happening in the sector that rules your personal resources.
Ah, you're emotionally attached to your own money.
Exactly. Neptune uses your own hope against you.
Okay, so keep your wallet frozen in ice. And this fog lingers, right? Because on April 17th, Mercury meets Neptune.
Yes, now the planet of logic is sitting in the fog machine. Your financial thinking becomes highly poetic, but totally impractical.
So you might think, money is just flowing energy. I should just go buy that expensive art.
Which is dangerous. You must avoid signing contracts or making large investments on the 17th.
The electric company doesn't accept flowing energy as payment. They want dollars. Wait it out until the fog lifts.
Definitely.
Because the good news is, as we guide the conversation forward, the fog finally starts to lift as we move into the exciting, lightning-fast final week of April.
The late part of April is truly spectacular. We move to the most electric part of the month.
Where huge planetary movements bring joy, risk, and a brand new life chapter.
Exactly. But before the wild energy hits, the universe stabilizes you. On April 20th, the sun enters Taurus.
The Earth sign, the bull.
Right. It brings solid ground. It stabilizes your financial luck, making you focus on practical things like your home, real estate, or a family business.
A grounding energy.
Yes. And if we analyze how this grounding energy works, it actually gives you the safe base you need to take exciting romantic leaps just a few days later.
Oh, I love that. So you have the solid ground on the 20th. Then on April 23rd, you want to share deep feelings.
Yeah.
And then we hit April 24th, which is your second best date of the month.
It is a fantastic day. On the 24th, we have the first quarter moon in Leo.
That's a phase of action, right?
Yes, it gives you massive energy to take a big romantic risk. You feel brave because Taurus gave you that stable foundation.
And while you're feeling brave, lightning strikes. Because also on April 24th, Venus forms a beautiful conjunction with Uranus. Love meets lightning.
It brings sudden joy, a brilliant new friendship, or a massive stroke of personal luck.
What does that look like romantically?
Romantically, you might fall for someone completely different from your usual type. The unpredictability is thrilling.
So if you normally date quiet people in gray sweaters, suddenly you're intensely attracted to a loud musician with a motorcycle.
Exactly. And health-wise, it might inspire you to completely revamp your diet or physical appearance.
You might wake up, look in the mirror, and just dye your hair bright teal. Or throw out all the junk food in your house. Making bold, healthy changes right now will feel incredibly empowering.
It will. You're breaking your own rules to find joy.
But as wild as the 24th is, it's just the opening acts for April 26th. The multi-year chapter begins.
This is a massive and totally profound life shift. Your ruling planet, Uranus, leaves Taurus and enters the highly social sign of Gemini.
This is huge.
It is. Uranus takes 84 years to circle the zodiac. It spends 7 years in one sign.
So it's been in slow, earthy Taurus for 7 years. What does it feel like to break out into Gemini?
Gemini is a fellow air sign. It rules communication, curiosity, and speed. This transit marks the start of a multi-year chapter of extreme creativity and massive social expansion.
Okay, I have an analogy for this. It's like moving out of a quiet, predictable farm town
Okay, listening?
where the cows moo at the same time every day and stepping right into the middle of a bustling, neon-lit city that never sleeps. Bright lights, taxi horns, ideas bouncing off the walls.
That is a brilliant analogy. Your dating life becomes highly unconventional, and professionally, you might start a brand new, highly creative business venture.
A podcast, a book, a new platform. But this raises an important question, doesn't it?
This raises a very important question. How will you handle all this extreme new creative energy without burning out?
Right. If you never sleep in the neon city, you crash. And speaking of crashing, there's a quick money warning on this exact same day, April 26th.
Yes, Mercury squares Jupiter.
Oh, the overconfidence planet again.
Right. You might feel overly optimistic about your spending limits. You might accidentally buy a massive luxury item you cannot actually afford.
You step off the train into the neon city and decide to buy the penthouse on day one. Don't do it.
Keep your wallet in your pocket.
So with all this wild electric energy zipping around, how can you possibly stay grounded?
Thankfully, the charts have a built-in safety net at the end of the month.
Oh, thank goodness. Tell us about the healing and grounding energy.
We look back slightly to April 16th. The sun meets Chiron, the wounded healer. This brings healing to your anxious mind and helps you release old, painful memories.
You drop the heavy baggage.
Exactly. Then on April 21st, the moon is in Cancer. You crave physical relaxation at home, a warm bath, a healthy meal.
Rest the body.
Crucially, on April 26th, the same day Uranus shifts, the moon enters Virgo.
The practical earth sign.
Yes, Virgo helps ground the chaotic Uranus energy into practical daily routines.
It makes sure you drink water and fold your laundry while your mind is in the clouds.
Exactly. If we analyze how perfectly the charts balance out the massive changes, it's beautiful. Just as your life shifts into high gear, the planets offer you a chance to rest your tired body.
And embrace a healthier mindset. Also on April 26th, Venus sextiles Neptune, right?
Yes, this is the absolute perfect time for peaceful mental rest, deep spiritual meditation, or walking quietly in nature.
I love that. Walking among the trees to process your new life. And then you finish the month strong, finishing rich and powerful on April 28th and 30th.
On April 28th, Venus trines Pluto. A trine is a harmonious, flowing angle. This completely transforms your financial situation for the better.
Finding a powerful new way to eliminate debt.
Exactly. You end the month feeling very rich. Also on the 28th, Mars trines Lilith. This gives you fierce ambition and total courage to push your physical strength to brand new levels.
And finally, on April 30th, the moon enters Scorpio, which shifts your focus directly to your ultimate career goals and building a truly powerful professional legacy.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean? It means you end April completely electrified, fully restored, deeply strong, and totally ready for the exciting future.
It is an incredible journey.
What a map. All right, to wrap up the episode, here is your quick astro chart cheat sheet.
Get your pens ready.
Your color of the week is teal. And for those who want the exact shade, the color code is hashtag 008080.
A beautiful color.
Your lucky numbers are 4, 22, 29, 38, 51, and 56. And your best dates. Mark your calendars for April 10th and April 24th.
And I want to leave you with one last thing to ponder. When you feel that sudden urge this month to break a boring routine, ask yourself, is this just restlessness? Or is this the universe finally clearing the path to the true, wild, and wonderful life you were meant to live?
Wow. A true, wild, and wonderful life.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode on Horoscope TV.
It's been a pleasure.
Subscribe right now so that you can get notified the moment the next episode is available. See you next time.